Hello, I'm here today to provide you with a video to explain to you the differences between SQL join and a union in some plain English, hopefully in a way that you guys are able to understand. At least the way that it's being illustrated, that I'm going to illustrate it, it really helped me understand the concept of what exactly a join and a union is doing between SQL tables. So yeah, let's just get right into it then. A join and a union are essentially kind of operations that you use in SQL to deal with data in two separate different tables. So you want to use them usually for joining information together, no pun intended. So imagine you have a table over here. I'm going to call this what the heck is going on. So imagine that there's a table over here. I'm going to call this T1. And then there's another table over here. Let's call this T2. You know what? I'm going to use a different color for this just to make it clear. And T2 over here. And we're going to use a third color. So in the operation of a join, what that ends up doing is, assuming that T1 and T2, your end product after you do a join, you're going to end up with a table that corresponds with both of these tables combined lengthwise, but horizontally. So you have a couple of different criteria that you need to join them on. So assuming you have a column over here and a column over here that have some matching data with each other, then the corresponding rows where they're matching end up getting merged together. So I'll give you an example of this shortly after with some real data so that you can better visualize it. But the general idea here is that when you join two tables together, the end product is something that's horizontally merged where you end up with records from both tables. Now, if there's no matching records between these two tables in terms of the column that they're trying to match on, then you're just going to end up with the first table instead with no additional data from the other column. So if we were to union these two tables together with a union, our end result, similar to join, would be something where they're both combined, but in this case, they would be vertically merged. So this would be T1 and this would be T2. As in the case with join, there are some conditions that need to be met, which will make sense. You need to have the columns that you're merging these two tables on be similar in terms of the count, and they also need to have some similar characteristics. I'll go into a little more detail on that as well, but that's just the general idea here is that you're going to get a vertically merged table, and every column, every record in here should be distinct. That means that they're unique, so you're not going to get any duplicates in this end result. Here we have a table called a transaction table, which lists in here 7 transactions that are recorded and the sale price for each transaction and the SKU or the item number that was sold. Now over here we have another table called purchase price, and along with that we also have an SKU and a price that's used to purchase the item for. You'll notice that I highlighted in red here. You'll notice that the SKUs for this particular transaction highlighted in red are also, they also exist in this purchase price table over here. And there's a couple of SKUs that do not exist, which means that either A, you're not selling them, or B, they weren't sold, so they're not on the transaction list. And same with these two transactions over here. These SKUs don't exist from the wholesalers list, so they're probably on another list. So let's say I wanted to join these two tables together because I wanted to see what the sale price is and the purchase price right next to each other. If I joined the two tables on the SKU data, you would end up getting the entire table over here along with the additional column over here matching up with this. So the question here is, what do you think is going to happen to these two rows when you do the join? What do you think the result's going to be? So you can take a second and think about that. I'll show you the answer right now. So going over here, we can see that this is the end product, and we have over here, as I said, the original transaction table and the purchase price appended along with it. And The colors, I only added those in just to kind of illustrate to you where the data is coming from. And you notice over here that the two products that were on the transaction table, but not on the wholesalers table, they are included, but for the price, we get nothing. They're just blank. And that's generally something that's just going to always happen. If you have additional columns over here as well, these would also be blank since there's no data to match that off of on the purchase price table. Let's say I just wanted to union just this one column with this other column. We're not going to worry about the sales price and the transaction number. If you only did one column instead, you would end up getting all of a combined list of all of these SKUs together. So what we're expecting to see is all of these SKUs over here, which are highlighted in red, these ones as well, and these two as well in one single list. And that's what would end up happening over here. You'd end up getting the entire list of everything that exists. And this is kind of useful for aggregating where information might be coming from. You could do this for aggregating zip codes, aggregating cities, things of that nature. With that being said, Union is a pretty niche operation. Most of the time you'll be working with join. Join is definitely the more popular of the two operations that people tend to use pretty often in my experience, and union not used so much, so you don't have to worry too much about getting too familiar with this. So that pretty much covers it for this video. If you have any questions or if you're confused about anything, then go ahead and drop a comment on the video and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Till then, see you next time.